Hey, this is Carla, and this time I'm here to do a small binge report on a few chapters of the Bleach manga. I haven't been reading the manga for a while. I just every once in a while I'm like, I wonder what's happening in Bleach. But I was checking Tumblr one day and Tumblr pulled me back in, and I'm like, damn, I have to go back to reading it. So today I am going to be talking about everything I read from chapter 631 to chapter 640, which is, I think maybe halfway through to the point where we're at right now. So maybe I will do another binge report after this for the next 10 chapters or so, maybe until I'm caught up. But in this one, the first chapter, the 631, actually starts up with a flashback that I was really eager to see, because we had already seen that Baz and Ugram were fighting, right? So they started to talk about their old friendship, and I'm like, damn, this is really homoerotic. So I was kind of like, yeah, I want to see how this went down, because Baz seemed like really upset about it, and I'm like, they must have been really good, either like really good friends or lovers, because that kind of hurt you can only really pull off if you've slept with someone. But so it starts off with this flashback, and I have to say I really liked it. I thought it was really good. It also kind of got me liking Ugram for the first time, because for the most part he's only been kind of there. He hasn't really done much of anything, and he's, this guy's like really serious, so I wasn't really into him. But I really loved like little Ugram. I thought he was cute, and I liked how he kind of put up with Baz even though nobody else ever would. But they actually got like really shonen in this thing, honestly. Like, you have Baz talking about my other half. I'm like, dude, really? Like, is this the point we're gonna get? Like, this isn't subtext anymore. It felt like it had a very, especially after Ugram got drafted by Iwak, it had this whole like notice me senpai kind of dynamic, because Baz just got really upset and was trying to get like Iwak to actually recruit him as well, but mostly he was trying to get Ugram to see him, basically. Chapter 634 was an entire ode to just Baz trying to get Ugram's attention. Seriously. Then we have other like small moments. For example, I still can't deal with LeVar. Seriously, this guy just running away from everything. I don't even care. Like, I know that Kubo likes to inject like little bits of comic relief, but I'm getting sick and tired of this dude. Like, start fighting, man. And then all of a sudden they had that one shot of like Shuhei getting shot by the sniper guy. Does that mean he died? Because I'm like on the edge of my seat right now. Like, what happened to Shuhei? You cannot kill Shuhei. I'm going to die if you kill Shuhei. Please don't do it, Kubo. I'm going to assume, since it hasn't been mentioned again, that he's not dead. But Kubo, I got you in my sights, man. And so I'm saying, you do anything to Shuhei, you hurt one hair on his head, and I will freaking just give up on life, okay? Then after that, though, we also have this whole thing with Kenpachi and Mayuri, which was really funny because they're so different, right? And yet they're paired together against this weird thing that doesn't even have a face, right? And they are so opposite, and you have Mayuri just blabbing about what this thing could be and blah blah blah, let's do this, let's do that, energy here, energy there, and then Kenpachi's just like, F it, I'm gonna kill it. And it was so Kenpachi, and I loved it. And of course then he gets his arm cut off or absorbed, or however you want to say it. And it was all part of Mayuri's plan too, because obviously this guy's like light Yagami with uglier clothes. But I thought it was a funny moment, really, that Kenpachi is so predictable that Mayuri is actually able to use him in order to bring this thing out of its protective, I guess, hood. Also, is it bad that I'm sort of starting to ship Ikako and Nemu? I mean, basically they just spoke to each other, but that's what happens in the mind of a fangirl, right? I mean, two characters speak to each other and you're immediately like, oh my god, you need to get married and have babies. I don't necessarily think Ikako and Nemu will happen, but I'm hopeless like that, so that's just it. Even though I found Mayuri funny in this episode in his interaction with Kenpachi, he still gives me the creeps, okay? I'm one of those that just don't forget the whole Ishida thing, like back when they first came into Soul Society. I still can't forget that fight and all the crazy, disgusting stuff that Mayuri did and said he did to like Ishida's family. So I still kind of just hope that he will die this time around, because he's been skating through like everything that happens. People end up like half dead or bleeding or like completely losing hope of ever winning, and Mayuri's just there like coasting through. You know, he always ends up with some kind of benefit from every fight, and this time I just want him to die, like seriously. I do have to point out that even though I want Mayuri to die, the other side also gives me the creeps. I mean, it's a freaking left arm. The thing was a freaking left arm. Where the hell did that come from? It felt like I skipped something, like all of a sudden there's a hand, and I'm just like, what is going on? But, you know, if they could both die, I would be very happy. I'm also happy because at one point Mayuri says, he mentions that he's seen that hand before Ukitake lost consciousness or something like that. And I'm like, so you didn't say before Ukitake died. So does that mean that Ukitake might be alive? Because that will make me the happiest person ever, okay? I got freaking depressed when Ukitake seemingly died, because he's one of my favorite characters. And if he can be alive, oh my god, that will be fantastic. Even if it takes a freaking hand to like actually corroborate that thing, and then the eye thing was so gross, man. Ugh, Kubo, you're so gross. Where do you come up with these things? What are you smoking, dude? But I look forward to it if it means that Ukitake can come back to life. I do hope, though, that Mayuri goes down at some point, because I do get the happiness of scientific discovery. I'm a scientist too, so I get that. But he's gross. He's gross, and although I did like the mumbling thing, he kept going like, please stop mumbling. And I'm like, this is like the second coming of Mother Gothel from like Tangled. Like, seriously, don't mumbling. Always with the mumbling. So that reminded me of that, and it made me smile. Then there was the whole thing with the name, which I thought we already knew his name was Pranita Park Yang, whatever, however you pronounce that. I thought we already knew about his name, so they seem to make a big deal about his name in this chapter, so that confused me a little. But I did like that Nemo kind of took action for herself, because that's what I've been wanting since back in that first fight against Ishida. for her to actually, make her own decisions instead of being a doll. And seriously, like, Mayuri changed his clothes again. He looks like a DC superhero, but if it helps, like, I don't know, if Nemu can take action from that, I'm fine. But even though it was like all gross and I hate both sides, I actually did like the fight with the hand. I thought it was cool. It felt like a cool fan. And then he even mentioned Nishida's family, like, seriously. Nemu was definitely giving me vibes of, like, Evangelion. Because she felt so much. I kept thinking, Nemu, come on, you can do it. Stop being a doll. And then I'm like, oh, wait, a doll. And I totally get that Kubo had, like, inspiration from Evangelion or something, because you can totally see that in those chapters, in that chapter where Nemu is speaking. And then it got worse. It went from a hand to an eye to this giant poison baby thing that was disgusting. Like, seriously, I'm gonna have nightmares. And then the baby exploded, and then Nemu saved him, which is like I really do think, though, that he was, very influenced by Evangelion. And I did like that Nemu actually has a full name. Like, she has an identity. So, let's, give her a bit more of that. But instead they end up with Mayuri being like, Nemu, don't do this ever again. And she's like, yes, sir. And I'm like, really? I hope they, in the end, 1, Mayuri dies, and 2, Nemu actually gets an identity of her own and a personality of her own, because I think she could be really cool. So yeah, as far as these chapters go, I thought they were okay. The fights were okay. The comic relief interspersed in between, not so much. And the entire thing with Pernita was gross, because, come on. I guess the Kubo just kind of sits back and goes, what can I do to make this grosser than the previous chapter? But hey, that's what we signed up for, I guess. I just really hope that this comes to an end soon and they don't stretch it out for like 20 chapters, this fight between Mayuri and Pernita, because there's really no point. And Pernita is just not that interesting. I mean, it's a hand. So, I mean, even if it's the hand, it's still not very interesting. So it feels like an episode of The Addams Family, really. So I really do hope they wrap this up pretty soon. But overall, I actually really like these episodes starting from the flashback, which I really enjoyed. The fight with the hand was okay-ish, and I really liked the just the interaction between Mayuri and Kenpachi. It was funny. Hopefully we'll see more of him and he won't actually, like, die in this. Mayuri can die. I don't mind that, but not Kenpachi. So I guess we'll see. That's it for my review today. As usual, be sure to visit our website, thegeekypub.com. We have reviews not only for previous Bleach chapters, but also for other manga, for books, for movies, TV, ton of stuff in there, so be sure to check it out. And as usual, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that's where all of our reviews go up first. Even before they hit the website, they're usually up on YouTube. So if you don't want to miss anything, you want to subscribe. And I will be back hopefully soon with a review for the next few Bleach chapters. So stay tuned for that. And I will see you guys later. Bye.